Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
And hello and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings, episode number 287. And I don't know what it is, but just when you thought this team was going to fold up its tent, it puts together a decent week. Now, are they back in the race? Well, no, but they're in a better position going into this big 4-game series, which is just starting as we record this, against the Washington Nationals. 8.5 out. If they can, by some miracle, sweep the Nationals, it'll be 4.5 out. That would be respectable. A split doesn't really get them anywhere. Keeps them at 8.5. 3 out of 4 isn't bad. I think that would keep them roughly about 6.5. So, big weekend coming up, but we have other news to report. And by the way, before I forget, a happy early Father's Day to all the dads out there. Enjoy your day. Sunday is Father's Day. Maybe you're going to the ballpark. Maybe you're just going to sit down in the backyard. Hope it's a beautiful day for all the dads out there. And a happy Father's Day to everyone. And let's check the Mets injury report. That's longer than the whole show's going to be, probably. Not good news. Two more injuries occurred last night. Mets right-handed pitcher Matt Harvey has been diagnosed with a stress injury to the scapula bone in the throwing shoulder, the team announced today. Harvey received a PRP injection and will not rehab until he is pain-free, at which time he will begin a throwing program to return to pitch. He is expected to miss several weeks, the team announced. He told reporters Wednesday night that he would need to see a doctor after experiencing what he believed to be arm fatigue during his start last night. It was his shortest outing of the year. Harvey tossed only 58 pitches and allowed 4 runs, including 3 home runs. And he also said that this year has been very, very difficult mentally and physically on him, and this is just another issue. And, you know, you got to wonder, is this guy brittle? He's so reminiscent to a certain extent to Paul Wilson, who was here a few years ago. Well, maybe close to 20 now, with the Mets, part of the first generation K. But, geez, this is a shame. I mean, this guy is trying to get on track, and he just can't with the injury. So we'll have to see how he heals up and comes back in a few weeks, hopefully. Mets second baseman Neil Walker, if you saw the game, he went down lame. Looks like somebody shot him. He has a partially torn left hamstring, has been placed on a 10-day disabled list. Walker, who exited last night's game due to the injury, was replaced on a 25-man roster by infielder Gavin Cecchini, who was called up from AAA Las Vegas. The hope is that he'll be able to begin rehabbing the injury in 2 or 3 weeks, Sandy Alberson said. Now, I heard something about he's going to rehab immediately, but I don't see how that's possible. You got to heal that thing a little bit and wait to see, but who knows nowadays. Then we also have Cabrera on the DL with a thumb sprain again. Smoker went on the DL with a left shoulder sprain. Montero's up to take his place. Conforto is sitting for the 4th day tonight with a stiff back. Syndergaard was seen by a doctor. He needs another few weeks of rest before he begins throwing, so it doesn't look like we'll see him until at least, at the minimum, middle to late August. So if you're trying to count on Syndergaard coming soon, forget it. He can't throw for another 4 weeks, can't pick up a ball, and then he's going to have to throw at least 4 weeks, have some sort of 4-week throwing program to get that arm in shape and to get his body back in shape. And maybe this will be a lesson for these guys not to go packing on the muscle unless you're throwing, and to throw the ball all winter. If you want to add the muscle, make sure you're doing the proper exercises, baseball exercises, to allow it to keep you flexible and working. Otherwise, you're going to have problems like this all the time. And one more, Mets closer Jeurys Familia is visiting Dr. Robert Thompson today in St. Louis and could be cleared to throw after the visit. No word on that yet. Familia had the arterial clot removed from his throwing shoulder by Thompson on May 13th. The Mets placed him on the 60-day disabled list 3 days later. So after the surgery, Familia said everything goes well. I'll be back this year. I think I'll be back, I'm not sure, August or September, but I feel good now. The 27-year-old is hoping to get the nod to begin a throwing program following the visit. He has been limited to conditioning exercise during his rehab at Port St. Lucie so far. So maybe Familia gets to start throwing, and we'll see how long that'll take him, and use that as a bellwether with Mr. Harvey and Mr. Syndergaard. So we'll see how long it takes Familia to come back. And today, June 15th, is the 40th anniversary of the Midnight Massacre. And those that don't remember, or too young to remember what that was, it was the night Tom Seaver was traded to the Reds, and David Kingman was also traded to the San Diego Padres on that evening in 1977. A sad evening in Mets history. We all that lived through that remember it well. I remember shaking my head to say, what the heck are they doing? I'm not sure if I said heck, but really, it was really Tom Seaver was having some trouble with the owner of the team, or the spokesman for the owner of the team, M. Donald Grant, who was, I guess, the president of the team. And it got ugly there in the newspaper with the columnist Dick Young taking Grant's side and really attacking Seaver. And it really got nasty. It was disgusting. And it culminated on June 15th, which was the trading deadline in those days. And Tom Terrific went to the Cincinnati Reds, and the Mets received Pat Zachary, Doug Flynn, Steve Henderson, and Dan Norman. Moments after trading Seaver, the team also traded away Dave Kingman to the San Diego Padres for Bobby Valentine and Paul Siebert. So, 40th anniversary today of the Midnight Massacre. Tom Seaver traded to the Reds. And over this past week, the Mets took 3 out of 4 from the Braves and 2 of 3 with the Cubs, playing a little bit better baseball, looking good, played really tight offense, really good defense. They had the one bad game against the Cubs, but bounced back, which was very important, and got those add-on runs, which is something that you always must get. Hit a few home runs, and look, I have to admit, Jay Bruce is playing very good baseball. He seems inspired. Is it because it's a walk year? Is he comfortable now? And I just have to wonder whether coming to a bigger ballpark, in a way, has helped him as a hitter. Because of trying to hit home runs all the time in a short ballpark, maybe he's trying to go away more, and it's working for hitting home runs because he's making more solid contact and driving the ball when he gets a good pitch. So I still don't like the trade. I didn't like picking up his option, and I still maintain that. But I have to admit I was wrong. He's playing some good ball, and we'll see what happens, whether they sign him, whether they keep him. I don't think they will. I think they will try to move him at the trading deadline, and he should bring in something because he has been playing some good ball, both offensively and, might I add, defensively as well. He's made some good catches. So that's my mea culpa, if you will, to Mr. Bruce. This week was the 2017 amateur draft, and the Mets picked number 20th, and their first-round pick was a left-handed pitcher from Oregon, David Peterson. Their second-round pick was a high school kid, Mark Vientos. He's labeled as a shortstop, third baseman type. Everybody seems to think he will be a third baseman. In the third round, they went with another college guy, a right fielder, Quinn Brody. So they were all kind of all over the place in the beginning. Fourth round, they went with Tony DeBrell, a right-handed pitcher out of Kennesaw State. And I'm not going to go through the whole list, but suffice it to say that throughout the draft, they restocked on pitchers for the minor leagues. They drafted 27 pitchers, 6 lefties, 21 righties. They drafted 4 outfielders, 7 infielders, and 2 catchers. Now, of the 7 infielders, only 1 was a first baseman. I think the rest were second, short, and third. And as I said, 2 catchers were selected by the Mets. And with the 1,147th pick in the 38th round, the Mets selected Daniel Alfonso from Bayside High School, the son of Edgardo Alfonso and the manager of the Brooklyn Cyclones. So Fonzie's son Daniel was selected out of high school, Bayside High School, and we'll see whether he decides to sign with his dad's former team, I should say. All right, we got a voicemail from our good friend Sean, so let's play that, and then we'll take a break.
Hi Gary, it's Sean in Bristol, UK. How are you, my friend? Apologies I haven't phoned in a while. Mets seem to be settling down, playing some decent ball at the moment. Though the injury woes have come back to haunt us yet again. Neil Walker last night and Matt Harvey possibly with arm fatigue. But am I being over melodramatic by saying that really the season starts tonight? And while I'm recording this, it's Thursday afternoon, so it will be just the start of the National Series tonight. I'm guessing by the time this goes out on the podcast that one game will be played, but what's your best case scenario here, Gary? Obviously a sweep would be fantastic, but can you see them, the Mets, getting a series win? If so, that will really get them back in the driving seat. Very quickly, I want to just mention next year, are you hearing anything about the Mets are coming over to London? There was an article in the Daily Telegraph that MLB really wants to get baseball up and running like the NFL does, and the possibility they want to have a 3-game series at the Olympic Stadium next year. It'd be absolutely fantastic if that happens, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that. Anyway, friend, thank you for all what you do, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care now. Bye.
And thanks to you, Sean, for checking in with us again. Sean's a great guy, and met him a couple of years ago, and really we had a great time hanging out at a ball game, of course, a Mets game. What else? Yeah, this is a big series for the Mets, and I can see where you could consider it the start of the season, the main part of the season. While a sweep, as you said, would be beautiful and perfect, I think at this point, 3 out of 4, and to a certain extent, even a split might be okay for their psyche. The injuries, it's going to be tough to sweep this team, even though Washington is having some problems of their own. It's going to be very difficult to sweep them, especially with Scherzer pitching in one of the games. So it's a tough task. So you've just got to try to go out and get as many games if you can. If you can get 4, great, fantastic. If you can get 3, even better. If it's 2 and you walk away with a split, you've lost nothing in the standings. You haven't gained anything, but at least you've stood your ground. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at it, and I think we have to really look at it as not as a division attempt to get to the division, get closer to the division lead. I think the Mets' first pick has to be trying to climb back to 500 and go from there. And there are tough games ahead. And let's face it, this Nationals team is good. They're struggling in the bullpen. They have some issues, but they can hit. And if they get a big enough lead, the bullpen maybe could hold it on. So, and we have injuries to key guys, key defensive as well as offensive guys. So it's going to be a tough series. So let's get what we can get and head to L.A. As far as the Mets going to London, I did see a report a few weeks or a month or so ago, and apparently they are in negotiation between MLB, the Mets, and the City of London, but nothing further has come out about it since then. So I guess you'll just have to keep an eye on your papers there, your local papers, and see if this is going to happen. It would be a boon to baseball, and as some of the people know, there is a market over there. So, and baseball wants to exploit that market, and it's right that they should. Means more money for the owners, I guess. It doesn't mean any lower ticket prices here, but who knows? But anyway, there has been negotiations. I would imagine that they are still ongoing, and we'll see how they all play out. All right, let's take a break and be back after this.
Looking for great Cardinals talk? Then check out Conversations with C70. My name's Daniel Shoftaw, and I talk with some of the great bloggers on the internet today about their teams, but it always goes back to the Cardinals. Find the latest episode on my website, www.cardinal70.com, or at baseballpodcast.net.
Did you know that Baseball PhD can be heard on baseballtalkradio.com?
Our shows rotate with other top baseball podcasts.
Now don't forget, that's baseballtalkradio.com.
With us, we'll help you get a PhD in life through baseball.
With baseballtalkradio.com, you'll hear the rest of the excellent universe of baseball podcasts.
516-619-6341. That is the comment voicemail hotline if you'd like to be a part of the show, and drop us a line, leave us a comment or a voicemail, question, anything at all. Call that number, 516-619-6341, or go to MetsMusings.com and click on that widget in the middle of the screen, and that's a speak pipe, and you can leave a voicemail right through your computer through your computer's microphone. Or if you prefer to do things the old-fashioned way, send us an email at metsmusings@gmail.com. The Facebook page is facebook.com/groups/MetsMusings, and the Twitter handle is at MetsMusings1.
With all the Mets news, it is the news from around the world and around the corner. Here's Gary Mack.
And joining me tonight is Jared Massey. He is the co-host of the Dugout Blues podcast, and Jared's been on the show before, so he's no stranger to these airwaves. So, Jared, welcome back to Mets Musings.
Thank you for having me again. It's a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you. And, of course, your Dodgers, the Mets will be going out to L.A. on next Monday and playing the Dodgers after this 4-game set that they have with the Washington Nationals. Rich Hill had a little bit of a problem today and got a little roughed up in Cleveland.
Yeah, he's been fighting it this year. You know, last year after he was acquired, he had the blister problem, and I think he's taking precautions to prevent it from recropping. And it it's not working as well as anyone would hope.
And of course, he got a nice contract, didn't he, in the offseason?
He did 3 years, $48 million, I want to say. Not a bad payday at age 37.
And of course, I believe he also pitched for the Long Island Ducks at one point.
He did, yeah. I think that's where he kind of refound himself, and then the Red Sox picked him up.
Well, good for him. That Atlantic League has sent some guys back into the to the majors, and that's a great thing. We like going to the games. They're nearby, and they're a lot of fun, as well as the minor league games. But let's talk a little bit about the Dodgers. You're 41-26, I believe. I think that counts today's game and a half a game out, and really you're in a dogfight in that division. I mean, all of a sudden, Arizona and Colorado have really rose up out of nowhere and are really going to challenge the Dodgers this year.
Yeah, miraculously, they both learned how to pitch, especially Colorado. They're throwing out 4 or 5 rookie starting pitchers, and all of them are holding their own at least. It's going to be a tight race. It's kind of odd seeing 3 of the best teams in Major League Baseball all in the same division. There are only 4 teams with 40 wins as of this moment, and 3 of them are in the NL West. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And, it's funny because a couple of years ago, we were saying the same thing about the NL Central. They had all those good teams with the Cardinals and the Pirates, and then the Cubbies were coming up, and just 2 years ago, and now they've really hit the skids, and the West has maintained that. A lot of people beginning of the year had picked the Dodgers or the Giants, and of course, the Giants have really taken a tumble. Literally since missing Bumgarner and the Padres. There's a big gap between the Padres and the Giants and everybody else in that division. I guess the question I want to ask, though, is we've seen the Diamondbacks once. We have not seen the Dodgers. We have not seen the Rockies. Do the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, in your estimation, as you said, they have some good pitching, young pitching. Can they make it? Can they hold up? Can they make this a race the whole year?
For the Rockies, I honestly don't know. I mean, you're counting on literally like 4 or 5 very young pitchers. We're talking rookies to carry their pitching staff. I mean, it would be one thing to carry, like the Padres pitching staff, because anyone can pitch in Petco, although Jared Weaver is trying to disprove that theory. I think it's maybe too great a task for the Rockies. The Diamondbacks, they got some great hitters. Paul Goldschmidt's one of the best players in the league, and Zach Greinke's pitching like Zach Greinke this year. I would give the Diamondbacks the advantage there in terms of holding out throughout the rest of the season.
And of course, there's always the option that they could add somebody at the trade deadline, but so can the Dodgers, and so it will be interesting to see. Now the Dodgers have I've been looking at the depth chart here, and they've got a few injuries to some good players as well.
Yeah, their first baseman Adrian Gonzalez just went on the DL again. He had never been on the disabled list in his entire career, and he's gone on it twice already this season. He hasn't been hitting as well, and then with the emergence of Cody Bellinger, that's not really an issue. But yeah, it's been a rough year. It seems like the front office kind of targets these types of guys. Andrew Tolles, who broke out last year, hit extremely well. He tore his ACL. He's done for the year. Scott Kazmir, who's kind of perpetually injured, is trying to make his way back to the major leagues. And they've lost some good relief pitching to injury. So they're fighting through it, but it's a lot more difficult than it should be.
And Yasiel Puig received a 1-game suspension for making an obscene gesture in Tuesday's game against the Indians. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
From what I heard, I saw it live on the broadcast. From what he said, he was being heckled, and he proceeded to hit a home run, and he touched the plate and looked at the people who were heckling him and said, "You're number one," with both hands. It's one of those things. I understand that these are professional athletes and there should be a level of professionalism, but on the other hand, some of these hecklers have it coming. So he'll get suspended a game and then he'll be back on the field, and that's fine.
See, you can't show your appreciation to anybody nowadays.
Right.
And what kind of year is he having? Because a couple of last year or the year before that, he really struggled, went back down to the minors, and has been up and seems to have performed better these last parts of last season than this year. Yeah,
he's hitting for power, which is nice. That was his 10th home run, and then maybe he was saying, I'm going to hit 11 for you. Yeah. He's doing okay at the plate. Where he's really stood out is in the field. I mean, I think every baseball fan knows how great an arm he has, but he's really kind of picked up in the outfield, aside from a collision with center fielder Jock Peterson, which landed Peterson on the concussion disabled list. But outside of that, yeah, he's been contributing. So he's not hitting as well as he should be, but he is performing and adding something to the team.
And you mentioned Peterson. What kind of year is he having? He came out like guns a-blazing a couple of years ago, and then kind of struggled from the All-Star break on. Has he gained more consistency?
Unfortunately not. He's hitting 196 right now. And what's more discouraging is he's not really hitting for power. He only has 2 home runs in 37 games. And I mean, this is a guy who, could easily hit 30. It's kind of frustrating watching him. He is a tinkerer, so he is constantly changing his swing, and hopefully he can find something that works soon and stick with it.
Boy, it's tough at that age to keep fooling around with your swing, because it's hard enough just to make the big leagues with how you did it, and then to keep changing it around. It's got to be very aggravating.
Well, I'm sure it is for him too. But as a minor league aficionado, I've seen what he can do in the minors, and it's awe-inspiring. So hopefully he gets back to where he should be.
And of course, left field looks a little different this year. Tell us a little about the guys that are out there.
Well, it's kind of after Tolles went down, they brought up Bellinger, who is a better defensive first baseman, but he's athletic enough to where he can play left field. Mm-hmm. And he was solid there. I mean, he's a really, really good athlete. He's not one of these, 6'5", 240-pound statues standing out there. He's a good runner, and he's got good instincts. Now that Gonzalez is out, he's playing first base. So now it's kind of musical chairs out there. Today it was Chris Taylor, who's had a sensational season. He's been outstanding. He's hitting almost 300, and he's hitting for power, stealing bases, playing all over the field. He's been fantastic. So he should probably get the lion's share of left field reps now that Bellinger's at first base.
And coming into the infield, of course, Corey Seager is at shortstop, and I didn't check his numbers, but if I recall correctly, the last time I looked, he's been having a pretty good year again.
Yeah, he is. He's 23, and he looks like he's been playing for 15 years. I mean, he's just kind of one of those unshakable, always comes to work prepared type of guys. He's not hitting for as much power, but he's walking more. So, yeah, his numbers are very similar to what they were last year, and yeah, he's just Mr. Consistent. It's a nice thing to have in the lineup.
He is certainly a good player, and he's going to be a real good player. Justin Turner's having another decent showing. He just got a contract as well.
Yeah, he got 4 years, I believe. I think it was Hill got 3, Turner got 4, and Jansen got 5. Yeah, Turner, all he does is hit. I mean, 380. I'd say that's good enough. And yeah, he's had he had a little injury issue. It looked really bad live. He was rounding third coming home, and it looked like his hammy just popped. Luckily, it was just a strain, so he missed a little time, but he's healthy now, and man, he's hitting. He's playing great defense at third base. Just really, really fun to watch.
Well, we had the same incident last night with Neil Walker. He popped the hamstring, and they're calling it a partial tear, and he's going to be out for a while. So you won't see him, and you won't see Matt Harvey, the Dodgers, in this trip because they're both out. You probably won't see Cabrera. Let's see. Should I just go down the list?
I got all night, so yeah, sure.
Maybe I should name the guys you may see. Of course, you never know by then. It's still a few days away.
Will they be able to field a team? We'll lend you some.
Oh yeah, we'll be able to put something together. Second base has been a different look this year. Utley isn't playing there as much. Tell us a little bit about the second baseman.
Yeah, they sent one of their top pitching prospects, Jose De Leon, to Tampa Bay for Logan Forsythe, who has been a really good player for the past few years. Kind of broke out in 2015, had a solid 2016, and then this year he just stopped hitting. Kind of the same thing as Jock Peterson. He's hitting under 200. Luckily, he's a good defender, and he can play all over the field. I mean, he can play second, third. You can probably put him in the outfield if they needed to. The bat's got to come around, though. And what's been the biggest surprise is that Chase Utley, the ancient one, has been really productive this year. He's been a huge surprise. And, yeah, so he's filling in they're playing in Cleveland. They had Utley and Forsythe in the lineup. Forsythe playing third base and then Utley playing second. So it's nice to have those options, but I think Dodger fans and especially the front office would hope that Forsythe picks it up offensively.
And perhaps he will. Behind the plate, Grandal is still there, and he's a good, solid catcher, and he can hit.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of more known for his power and his framing ability. And, he's still an elite pitch framer. But he started off like a house on fire. I mean, through the first month of the season, I think he was just tearing up the league. Or actually in May, he really came on in May, and he OPS'd almost 900. He's been in kind of a lull lately, but, I mean, he's still one of the 10 best catchers in the league. So it's nice to have him. And then Austin Barnes, who was acquired in the D. Gordon trade back in 2014, he's backing him up. He started today, and he's actually hitting really well. He's hitting better than Grandal. So, they got 2 starting caliber catchers, which is a nice luxury.
And, of course, Kershaw is Kershaw. Kershaw is Kershaw.
For the most part. He's had a few bumpy starts. He had a really poor one in Coors, which is, not saying much. I think everyone has a bad time in Coors when they're pitching there. But yeah, I mean, overall the numbers are still fantastic. His ERA is 2.2, and he's striking a bunch of guys out. He's given up more home runs than he ever has, though. He gave up 8 home runs in 21 starts last year. He's already given up 13 this year. So, aside from the home runs, though, he's still the same 3-time Cy Young, 1-time MVP.
And, there's a lot of home runs being hit this year. I mean, the ball is just flying out, it seems. I don't know if they juiced it up or what, but it just seems to be going a lot more.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I mean, there have been studies, articles, research done that says the ball's fine, it's normal. I don't know if I believe that necessarily because the rate is just so high. You see a lot of guys putting an emphasis on hitting the ball in the air. That seems to be the trendy new thing. The fly ball revolution. Justin Turner subscribed to it. I honestly don't know. I mean, maybe guys are just bigger and stronger. That happens over the course of decades. Guys get bigger and stronger. But I mean, it's fun to watch. I think most casual fans would rather watch a 7-6 game than a 1-0 game. So, I'm perfectly fine with it.
And so take us through the rest of the pitching staff that the Dodgers are putting out there. We don't know who the probables are at this point, but at least we can talk about them.
Well, yeah. I think the biggest surprise on the staff has been Alex Wood. He actually outpitched Kershaw for the first few months of the season. His ERA is right at 2.01. He was acquired in a trade a couple years ago and has just been sensational this year. He missed a little bit of time with a clavicle irritation. I think they just made it up to skip his start, but they tend to do that. But he's been sensational. Brandon McCarthy has also been very good. He's in year 3 of a 4-year deal, I believe, and he missed most of his first year with the Dodgers after having Tommy John surgery. Kenta Maeda, he may or may not be in the rotation. He's struggled a bit this year, and they put him in the bullpen, and he's pitched pretty well. So he might be starting if Rich Hill, who pitched Thursday, doesn't get his act together. He's got to do something about his delivery. He's just all over the place. And then there's Hyunjin Ryu, who has bounced back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen, and he may be pitching, but I'm not 100% sure.
And your closer, at least you have one, Kenley Jansen.
Yeah, he's something else. I'll tell you. Converted catcher and turned into one of the best relievers in baseball. I mean, he's pitched 27 games, and he struck out 45 and hasn't allowed a walk. So, yeah, it's lights out when he comes in. He's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, he is one of the best in the game, and of course we won't have ours back maybe August, maybe September, who knows. Maybe too late for the Mets this year when we get Familia back, but we'll have to see. Okay, we had the big amateur draft this week, and the Dodgers picked an outfielder, Jaron Kendall, out of Vanderbilt. Do you follow the draft at all, and what's your opinions on that?
I do, yeah. I love following the draft in minor leagues. My opinion is it's a bold move. He was projected before the college season, to go number 1 overall. So obviously that's a great value get. Scott Boras is his agent, so there is a chance that he doesn't sign. But hopefully the Dodgers can get it done. And I mean, he's a dynamic player, potential 5 tool, has a little problem with the strikeouts right now, and hopefully they can get that fixed. If they get that fixed, he's going to be something special.
Now, what year is he in? Is he a junior or a senior?
He's a junior, so he's only 21. Plenty of time to develop, get that hit tool right. Hopefully he can take to some instruction and find a swing that works for him.
So if he doesn't sign, he can go back to school.
Yeah, he can go back for a senior season. And Boras has done that before. Boras, he did that with Mark Appel. I don't know if you know who that is. He was a number 1 overall pick a few years ago. He went like 8th overall and didn't sign with, I want to say, Cleveland, and then the next year he went number 1 overall to the Astros. And this has actually happened before with the Dodgers. Luke Hochevar, who was on the Royals, he was drafted in 2005, and he was represented by Boris, didn't sign. He went number 1 overall the following year, 2006. That caused Andrew Miller to fall to number 6 overall. And that's why the Dodgers now have Clayton Kershaw. Kind of a funny story.
Yeah. Well, it's a chance you take as the player, because what happens if you have a lousy senior year?
Yeah, it's absolutely happened before. I think it doesn't work out more than it does. I think if you have $2, $3, $4 million on the table, you have to take it. I mean, unless you come from a really wealthy family and that's not life-changing money for you. If someone, put a 7-figure bonus in my face, I'd snatch it up as quick as I could. So we'll see what happens. If they don't sign him, they get the following pick the next year. So it's not a total loss, but you'd like to get him signed and into the minor league system.
Well, Jared, I want to thank you so much for coming on again to Mets Musings. And if you want to plug your site, go ahead and do it now.
Yeah, it's DodgerBlue.com for Dodgers major and minor league news. And then the podcast is Dugout Blues, and you can find that at DugoutBlues.com and on iTunes and Stitcher.
All right. And again, thanks so much for coming on tonight. And hope to talk to you again in the future.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate it.
And we'll be back right after this. 516-619-6341. That is the comment voicemail hotline if you'd like to be a part of the show. And drop us a line, leave us a comment or a voicemail, question, anything at all. Call that number, 516-619-6341. Or go to MetsMusings.com and click on that widget in the middle of the screen, and that's a speak pipe, and you can leave a voicemail right through your computer through your computer's microphone. Or if you prefer to do things the old-fashioned way, send us an email at metsmusings@gmail.com. The Facebook page is facebook.com/groups/MetsMusings, and the Twitter handle is at MetsMusings1. And if you'd like to help out the show, check out our Patreon page. Check out the campaign at patreon.com/MetsMusings. And I'm back, and a couple of notes before we go. Former Met Jimmy Piersall died at the age of 87 back on June the 3rd. Piersall will be remembered for his 100th career home run, which he ran backwards around the bases. He hit it off of Dallas Green and the Philadelphia Phillies. Casey Stengel was not real happy about that. He said there's only room for one clown on this team, and Piersall was gone within a few days after that. So Jimmy Piersall is also noted for the book that he wrote, Fear Strikes Out, and the movie that followed that. He had some mental health issues with depression he battled, and it was a pretty good outfield, a good defensive outfielder, never lived up to his true potential. But the man had fun and enjoyed his baseball career, and he passes away at the age of 87. And New York Penn League action is going to be opening up on Monday the 19th. The Cyclones will take the field on the 20th at home, but they'll open up in Staten Island at Richmond County Ballpark against the Staten Island Yankees. So go check out the New York Penn League short season A-League and home of the Cyclones, and you might just see Tim Tebow sometime during the year. Who knows? We'll see how that works out. Well, that does it for this edition of the podcast. This edition is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. If you would like to help in keeping this podcast going, I urge you to check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MetsMusings. facebook.com/MetsMusings. So thanks for listening to this episode, and until next time, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets.